Hey everyone, thanks for learning to play games. My name is Lance, and in today's video I'm going to take a look at a brand new game coming to Gamefound called Micro Moonshine. This is a brand new one by Thistroy Games. It is a 1 to 4 player game that takes roughly 45 minutes to an hour and a half to play, and is a competitive game where players are going to be competing to have the most victory points in the game. So in the game itself, you are back in the 1920s during the Prohibition, and you're trying to produce liquor and moonshine and all kinds of different things, and then get it to the speakeasies to keep the liquor flowing. And throughout the game, you're going to be getting different bootleggers, trying to get different ingredients to make your different wines and alcohols and liquors and moonshines, and then deliver it to meet the requirements of the different contracts to get you victory points. The game itself is going to be played over 4 rounds, and each round is going to be broken down into 6 turns where each player will get to take a turn within that. And at the end of that, the players are going to total up their points, and whoever has the most will be the winner of the game. So in this video, I'm going to take you through the main features of the game and then show you a sample turn to give you a better idea how this one plays to help you decide on whether or not this is one you want to back on Gamefound. As always, if you find my videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribe to my channel. It's one of the easiest ways you can support channels like mine so we continue to grow, be able to produce this content. If you want to get notified anytime I drop new videos, also give that notification bell a ring, and that'll let you know whenever I drop new videos, as I'm constantly dropping new teaching videos, playthroughs, unboxings, Kickstarter coverage or crowdfunding coverage videos, and many others. And if you have any requests, drop those in the comment section below as well. Before getting into the video, I do also want to point out that all the materials you see here are prototype materials and are subject to change and look a lot better than the final production copy of the game. So let's go ahead and head to the table and we'll see what this one's all about. So first, let's start by taking a look at the different resources you're going to try to gather throughout the game. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the different liquors that you're going to be able to acquire, and there are 2 different versions of them. You'll have barrels and bottles. And usually you're going to need barrels to convert into bottles to get victory points by completing the different contracts, as you're going to see later. So those are wine barrels and bottles, gin barrels and bottles, rum barrels and bottles, and whiskey barrel and bottles. And then you're also going to have moonshine bottles and clean currency. The other type of resource you're going to have are ingredient cards, and there is going to be an ingredient or market deck that you'll be able to acquire ingredients from, and there's going to be 4 different types of ingredients: water, fruit, wheat, and sugar, and you're going to use these to make the different liquors. Now, these cards can also be used as dirty money cards and are going to have the dirty money symbol above them, with the fruit, wheat, and sugar counting as 1 dirty money and water counting as 2. Now, throughout the game, as players gain ingredients, they're going to go into the different locations and convert those ingredients into the different liquor bottle or barrels. And then they're also going to visit locations such as the bottling plants to convert those barrels into bottles, or moving into the black market where they can use those to convert them into moonshine bottles, or going into the street market or docks to gain more ingredients that they'll be able to use to make the different barrels again. And each time a player uses a location, such as, let's go ahead and say that the players chose to go to the bottling plant, then you're going to flip the bottling plant over for the rest of the turn, and it's going to have a little bit more requirements, or it will be less effective for players after that point. Now, some of the locations are also going to have icons of specific types of bootleggers. So if you have one of those in your area, you won't have to spend a bootlegger in order to go to this location. You can go to the location and hold on to your bootlegger. And then all the players are trying to complete contracts throughout the game to gain victory points. And there's going to be 3 different levels of contracts: level 1, 2, and 3. Each one of these contracts is also going to have 2 different options for completing it with different point values. And when a player goes there as a free action during their turn, they'll spend their required resources, such as on this side, I would need a wine bottle, and then I'd also have to spend something in the middle. I can either spend a dirty money or a bootlegger. And on the other side, I have to spend a bottle of my choice. So it could be any one of the different liquor bottles that are out there, and that will give me 5 victory points. Now, at the end of each round, if there's any contracts left, some of those on the bottom rows are going to be flipped over to their side B, which is going to be less effective. They're going to grant less victory points, as it's taken the players too long to complete those contracts. And so those places are not too happy with them and are offering less victory points for completing those contracts. And as you make your way up, as you can see, they require more and more resources, but are worth a ton of victory points. So holding out a little bit longer sometimes is the best option, getting you a maximum number of victory points. And the last thing I want to show you is a sample turn action to give you a better idea how this one plays. So getting into the game, first off, again, at the beginning of each round, you're going to go through a draft step, which I've already handled. But in order to carry this step out, each player is going to be dealt 4 of the bootlegger cards. Each player will look through those cards and choose one that that player wishes to add to their area, either on side A by paying any requirements for the card, or side B if they just, or actually side B is the face-up side, and side A is the generic side, where it's just a generic bootlegger. And so once you've handled that, then you'll pass all the cards to the next player, and this will continue going until both or all players have 4, as that is the maximum number you can have, or players have passed. In later rounds, at the end of a round during the cleanup phase, players will be able to hold on to one of their bootleggers for free. And so in later rounds, when you're doing this draft step, players may pass as they already have a bootlegger in there, filling up their area a little bit quicker than the other players. All right, so I've handled that. So now we're ready to move into the round. And the game itself, again, is going to be played over 4 rounds. Each round is going to consist of 6 phases that are going to be tracked by the truck and the little meeple there. And during each one of the turns, each player is going to get to go. So each player will go each one of the turns. All right, so moving into that, you're going to select one player to be the starting player, which is going to be this player over here. And during a player's turn, that player must perform one action from a selection of 3 possible types of actions. The first one is a market action, which allows you to choose 2 different cards in the market, or all of the cards of one type. For example, if I wanted to take sugar, I would actually get all 3 of those cards, and then I'd add it to my supply. Now, you're never allowed to have more than 7 cards in your supply. If you take more than 7 cards, then you get to choose which ones to discard down to your hand limit of 7. Another option is the city action. So there are 8 locations in the city. In order to activate or go to a location, you have to discard one of your bootleggers. Now, some locations, such as the bottom row here on the bottling plant, black market, street market, and docks, have an icon. So if you happen to have a bootlegger of that type, then you can activate that city location and not have to discard a bootlegger. And then the final type of action is a crew action, which allows you to activate an ability on one of your crew cards, carrying out that and paying any costs that are associated with that particular action. And then during your turn, you're also allowed to do a free action, which is to complete a contract as long as you have the requirements for that contract to complete it. And each contract, again, will have those 2 different sides to choose from based on the resources you might have. So getting into my player's turn, I am going to, let's see what I have in my hand. So right now I have 2 fruit, a water, and some wheat. So right now I do have enough that I could go and get a wine barrel. And so that might be a pretty good option. So I'm going to go ahead and head over and do that. So I'm going to spend the 2 fruit and the water, and I'll just add these over here to make a discard pile. And I have to discard one of my bootleggers, so I'm going to go ahead and use one of the generic ones. And I'll just add him over there. And then I will get to gain my wine barrel, which is going to be this one. All right, and so that is my turn, as I don't have enough resources right now to complete a contract. So it's going to pass to the next player in clockwise order to take that player's turn. So over to my other player here. That player has 2 wheats, and normally you won't reveal these, but I'm just kind of playing them up so you can kind of see what is going on. So I have a couple of wheat and a couple of waters and fruit. So I already have enough that I could go and build myself some whiskey. So, I mean, that might be a good option at this point. On my people, I have +1 hand capacity, so I can actually carry 8 cards. And then this one has use 1 resource as 2 resources of the same type. And this is a passive, so that's pretty nice. That will definitely come in handy. So in that situation, I could use a 1 wheat card as 2 wheat cards and be able to do that. All right. So yeah, I think think that's probably my best option, is to go and make some whiskey. So I'm going to go ahead and discard a bootlegger. And the one other thing I forgot to do is when you use a location for the first time, then you're going to flip it over. So I did use the wine. So from this point on, if other players go there, now it's going to cost some dirty money on top of the other requirements. So I'm going to go ahead and use his ability and use 1 wheat and a water. Okay, so I'll go ahead and discard those. Again, I have to flip this over. Okay, and then I do get my whiskey barrel. All right, and that is my turn. So heading back over to the first player, again, now I'm going to move this over. So this is turn 2, and I have my 1 barrel there. And what do I have for my guys? Over here I have, whenever any player uses the farmer's market, take 1 ingredient from the deck, or as an action I can take 2 ingredients from the market and 2 from the deck. So that's pretty handy. And then I also have, this guy has a passive ability, which I get 1 additional ingredient when taking ingredients from the market. So these two kind of complement each other on that one. And so I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a action with my worker here, and he is going to let me take 2 ingredients from the market and 2 from the deck, and this one lets me take or get an additional ingredient when taking ingredients from the market. So as selections, I definitely want to take the water, as I'm going to need that, and I will take a sugar and a fruit. And then I also get to take 2 from the deck, which gets me another sugar and another water. And I'll refill these spots. Ooh, lots of water. Okay. All right, and that was my action. So, and there was no paid requirement for that, so I'm good there. And that is my turn. So back over to the other player to go. This player is going to... I think I kind of need some resources. And unfortunately, I don't have any bootleggers with symbols on them, so I'm going to have to go to the docks, and I'll have to spend a bootlegger. And this one's going to let me draw 4 ingredients from the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, lots of wheat. I am full of wheat. And then I do get to draw a bootlegger with the A side up. So it basically just gives me another one. And that is my turn. And then this gets flipped over. Okay. All right. So it's going to move back over to the first player to go again. And this is going to continue going back and forth. So basically, the one other thing that I do want to show you is, let's go ahead and say, for example, that I really would like to go after this contract here just to kind of get going. I do need a wine bottle, so I have to convert a wine bottle. So if I go to the black markets, that converts there. Where do I have to go here, the bottling plant. So it's going to cost me 1 dirty money. So let's go ahead and go and do that one real quick. So I'll show you that. So I'm going to have to discard a bootlegger because I don't have one with that icon on it. And I have to spend a dirty money. So I guess I'll spend a sugar, as that will also count as dirty money. And I have to discard a barrel to get a bottle of the same type. So that now gives me my wine bottle. And so during my next turn, as long as that's still there, I can trigger that, which either requires a dirty money or a bootlegger and a wine bottle to complete. And that would get me 6 victory points. And I also get the 2 clean money that are there. So at this point, then let's go ahead and say that at the end of the round, there's a cleanup phase. So during the cleanup phase, there's a number of things that are going to happen. All the locations in the city are going to be flipped back over to their side A. You're going to flip over or remove any side B contracts. Then if there are any contracts in this bottom row here, they're going to flip over to side B. And any ones that aren't, you'll be replenishing from the main, and then you're going to add the money back in to areas that don't have the money. You're always going to have 2 money on the first level, 1 money on the second level, and so on. Then each player is going to have to discard any of their bootleggers that they have except for 1. And again, they get to keep that one for no cost. They don't have to pay any cost to keep that one. Then the bootlegger deck will be reshuffled, the market will be reset, and the first player token will pass to the next player in clockwise order to take their turn. And again, this is going to continue going until the end of the 4th round, in which case then you're going to move into a special scoring step. During that step, you're going to get additional victory points for any bottles or barrels you have, any clean money you have, and any resources you have left. And then whoever has the most points will be the winner of the game. Well, I hope you found the video helpful in deciding whether or not this is one you want to back on Gamefound. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please post those in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Or swing by the Gamefound main comment section and drop any questions you have there. I'm sure the creator would love to hear from you and more than happy to answer any questions you have. Until next time, I'll see you later.